Hey. So, we're going to see how this goes. All right. Now, this is me trying to do things a little more loosely and rambling on like I tend to do. Now, the first thing that I would like to bring up is the great, amazing Tommy Lasorda has passed. He was 93 years old. He previously retired from baseball because he had heart attacks. Retiring was a good move because he spent another 30 plus years with us. Just know, hello. Yes, it has been a little bit. So Tommy Lasorda played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's how far back he goes with the Dodgers organization back in the 40s. He became a manager, and in the 80s and 90s, he won 2 World Series, and he lived to this latest World Series. Not a Dodgers fan, but Tommy Lasorda, you will be missed by the baseball community. You were very, very loved. Yeah, I really hate that glare. Also, to talk about sports, tonight, if you come to my bar, I will be playing the playoffs on TV. We have a TV at the bar. Tonight, the Indianapolis Colts will be taking on the Buffalo Bills. My prediction is Bills by 10. The LA Rams will be playing the Seattle Seahawks tonight, and I predict an upset by the LA Rams by 3. And the third game tonight will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against Washington, D.C. And I've got Tampa Bay by 12. Yeah. Big prediction. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, just know I wanted to hit the Tommy Lasorda right away. Didn't want to drag it out. I will also be playing the national championship on Monday. The Buckeyes against Alabama, and I won't be rooting for anyone, but I will be cheering against Alabama. So there's that. So the first topic that I wanted to ramble on about. There is a secret organization. Well, there was. I don't know. They're not much these days, but it is the Ordo, Templi, Orientis, OTO. Now, I did a video on magical mathematics, the golden ratio and whatnot. And I just kept coming across the Aleister Crowley and the usual bunch of crazies. And I kept coming up on OTO. Now, as far as secret societies go, they do score high marks on the society end of high society. The secret part, they kind of sucked at that. They, made it very, very obvious. So, it is famously associated with Aleister Crowley, but the OTO had an illustrious history of 10 years before he came along. I don't mean a decade. I mean 10,000 years, right? According to them. Now, Karl Kellner, the founder of OTO, was an initiated Mason from Austria who had a strange encounter with 3 wise men while he was in Asia. Sound familiar? Yeah. And again, I am not saying this is true. I'm not saying this is not true. I am just quoting Karl Kellner. That's all. Now, these 3 wise men were the keepers of the sacred, they initiated him into the ancient sacred secret in the tradition of magic and mysticism. So, he created an offshoot of their secret society. Now, later, Kellner hooked up with other Masons. Rosicrucians, that's a whole other video. Basically, dudes that they made walking into a religion. They would walk on the balls of their feet, which is actually good if you have knee problems. Flat foot, constant pounding, bad for the knees. But if you kind of bounce on your toes a little bit, better for the knees. Bad for the ankles, though. You give and take. Then you have this weird, branch of Gnosticism, which I did a video on. You should look up. I think I did all right. They are the Theosophists, right? Like theology and There are Gnostics who believe that they're not the religion that's right. All religions are that religion. The others are just saying it differently. So really more positive, weak way to debate, I guess. I guess that'd make you an apologist to all religions. So Kellner began to believe that he could bring all these, the Freemasons and the Illuminati and all the other secret societies, bring them all together and mix science and religion. If only Tom Cruise had been around at that time. Now, this was going to create wealth and world domination, but in a good way. Not, like tyranny, just a benevolent ruler of the entire world. Because it's not a bad thing, just you can't be trusted to make decisions. Trust in the mighty leader. So when he created this sect, he called it Ordo Templi Orientis. The Oriental Order of the Templars. Now I know Oriental is not an acceptable label for a race of people anymore. But it is a location, so he's not saying Oriental people, he's saying the Orient. If that makes it less offensive, maybe. Now, unlike the Freemasons, who were very strict about allowing women, they don't. They got to be Eastern Stars. But the OTO, they not only allow women, they encourage and invite women because, sex orgies and stuff. Just saying. Now, other than that, the organization was very, very close to the Masons. And the inner circle of OTO, you had to be a Mason. And of course, women. Now, he didn't create this organization himself. He was the main force, but he had Theodore Roos, who had previously tried to bring back the Illuminati. Allegedly, if the Illuminati haven't always been here. But yeah, he tried to bring back the Illuminati. Also, he was a Rosicrucian, the walking religion that I mentioned. He was a Grand Master Mason of the 33rd degree, if that's a thing. Wink, wink. Scottish Rite Mason himself. But most importantly, Roos was a singer, and he performed at the very first Parsifal Festival. And in 1905, Kellner died, and Roos took the OTO from that theoretical idea to actually taking place and actually having the orgies and stuff. I know Kellner missed out on the orgies. Well, most of them. Now, not only were they both Masons, they both liked sex. They liked to bang. Mostly women, but there are some stories that they would bang each other from time to time. But it wasn't just sex, right? I mean, anyone can just form a club and start, going at it like rabbits. No, this was sex magic, right? Like you hear about in hentais. Allegedly. I've never seen one myself. So the sex magic it's the main thing that separates the OTO from Masons. Well, the sex and the magic part. But they translated tantric sex manuals from Asia and India. And there's actually a surprising amount of tantric. They all have different names, but there's a surprising amount of that all around the world. Apparently, all societies, people bang. I know. It's insane. In fact, your parents did it. Just saying. At least once. So, yeah, sex and magic. Woo-woo. And they were very, very interested in the magical powers of sexual fluids. In fact, if you go watch I know I'm just apparently going to plug myself all day. If you go and watch my video, Beware the Oral Sex Demon, there is ghost, ectoplasm, semen. Just saying. Also a haunted vagina. So they were very much into alchemy. Not so much the gold, turning lead into gold, as much as making magical potions. And blood has always been a very important part of this. But these two, they were wanting to add sexual fluids. Yes, YouTube just demonetized it right now if they hadn't already. Now, the theory generally went that if you get the right combination of male juice and female juice together with other things, you could create a magical object of power, which you could create a homunculus, which is a simple way of saying it. The Bible has Nephilim, half angel, half man, or Hebrew magical giants, depending on, what group you're with. Think of it that way, only without the God and angel part. It would be, I'm magical, and my magical semen needs to be mixed with your female juices, and we'll make a magical baby that will, Just saying. Now, Roos toiled away in obscurity. He actually did not try to become a celebrity. More intriguing and arcane doings, however, would involve you needed groups of people. And because it was a secret society, people were given code names and numbers and that sort of thing. But then Aleister Crowley came along. Now, Aleister Crowley Aleister Crowley is very famous. Ozzy Osbourne has a song about him. Mr. Crowley. But when he came along, things changed. Now, he joined in 1910. The number varies somewhat. But when he came along, no more of this secret stuff. Nah. That guy was going to be famous. So Roos and Crowley, they had a meeting of the minds. And Crowley was initiated into the higher degrees with the OTO. Now, Rosicrucius, the magical walking religion, was not the main focus of Aleister Crowley. I don't know why. He was more interested in sex magic and orgies than walking. And he was also really good at talking to people. So within 2 to 3 years, he was the Grand Master. But it's not like he stole the title from Roos. Roos actually backed him, because not only was Crowley so good at convincing random people that he was banging, he even convinced Roos himself, and that's around the time he started calling himself the Beast, which sounds like a pretty cool name. So he was the Grand Master of the OTO in Britain and Ireland, and Roos had the mostly ceremonial title of being, I'm in charge of everything except for the places where everyone's at. But yeah, totally in charge. So the MMM were the followers of OTO. I'm not quite sure. But Crowley launched a manifesto, and in this manifesto, he claimed to possess every sort of occult knowledge and magical skill in the world. Knights Templar, Gnostics, Illuminati, the Knights of Malta, the Holy Grail, the magical walking religion. Though If you take a look at the guy, he didn't practice all that much. Obviously, he claimed to be the highest level of Freemason that there is, the Golden Dawn. There's a whole video I could make about that. There's a list. But remember what I said about they kind of suck at the secret society, because when you publish a manifesto and you release it to the public, not that secret. Hard to be a celebrity when you're leading a secret society. And he published the book Secrets of the Golden Dawn. So, secrets being published, public, yeah, not secrets anymore. Also, he wanted to do more than just have orgies, right? And by giving himself more and more titles and having orgies with people with more and more titles, it gave him more power to get more orgies with more powerful people. By 1921, the Great Beast, because the Beast was no longer good enough, it's now the Great Beast. He evangelized and created a religion. So now the OTO became a religion. Thelema or Thelema. I always thought it was Thelema, but I've heard a couple people say Thelema. I don't know. It is a mystical framework that he channeled, right? See, the OTO was the organization and the funding, but he, being the head of the OTO and using his sex magic, he channeled the secrets of the universe and created Thelema. Now, he didn't have a magical rock that he put in his hat. No, he used sex magic. And the OTO crept forward, but it just got overshadowed by everything else. By the time he moved it into the U.S., where that's when you get the shit with Jack Parsons, the inventor of rocket fuel, got pulled into OTO. Yeah. And then he, while in the U.S., he brought in L. Ron Hubbard. Yes. And then Thelema was corrected and used to create Scientology. You see why the OTO is just so prevalent? Because Aleister Crowley liked to put his dick everywhere. And everywhere he put his dick, he would talk and spread these ideas. A lot of crazy people who took his crazy ideas and brought them elsewhere. Now, Aleister Crowley, he got an assistant around the time of World War II, right? Because Crowley was getting old and crazier, and because he had shared so many secrets in so many places, and there were so many offshoots coming, right, that it looked like the OTO was dying out. That's when Carl Germer sort of took over. So throughout, from the 40s to the 60s, the OTO proper stopped accepting new members. And then all these different factions were all at war with each other. And because everyone was fighting and they weren't bringing in new members, when Germer died and he didn't name someone to replace him, he didn't name his next in charge, the battling just got worse. And by the late 60s, Grady McCurdy, who was supposedly a friend of Crowley's, in the early 70s, late 60s, he brought them back and recruited the hell out of everyone he could. And he mostly focused in Dublin and San Francisco. But we're talking around the time of Red Hate, the Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco, the hippies, Marilyn Manson committed his crimes around this time. It did not quite catch on. Dublin was... The Irish Troubles took up a majority of the crazy, and the hippie movement took up a majority of the crazy. And no one wanted to dedicate their time to this religious secret society. They had all the sex and violence they needed without joining. He chose for his replacement, which the OTO was basically dead by this point, a secret leader. His name is a magical symbol. They just say the magical caliph or caliph. But his nom de guerre, French for war name, Hymenaeus Beta, the second cherry. But people call him Billy Breeze, which is a equally porn star sounding name. Now, the organization today supposedly has more than 3,000 members. And if you are interested in joining, someone's got to invite you, because I don't think they have like sign-up sheets. But if you can, if you figure out like where to join, drop a link in the comment for anyone else that might be interested. Now, people unfairly call the OTO a cult, mostly because they do have a lot of religious undertones, and they have spells that are secret, closely guarded secret, now that Crowley's gone. And they're not great kept secrets, but that's mostly Crowley's fault. I mean, you got the Gnostic Mass, which isn't a secret because Crowley fucking spread that everywhere. He also claims he wrote it. As a Catholic, it's very similar, but there is the naked chick on the altar and some groping going on. Otherwise, fairly similar. Well, no communion, and you don't have to sit up or sit down, stand up over and over again. Also, the OTO does have a little bit of obsession with penises during Crowley's time, because he very, very much liked women. He also very, very much liked men. So part of the Holy Communion, Unholy Communion at the Gnostic Mass involves the wafer that Catholics use, only the penis is involved and there's a special topping added. Higher level members mostly seem to focus on the sex stuff. It is required to masturbate, participate in heterosexual intercourse, and homosexual intercourse. Not because you are gay or straight, but because that's how you make the sex magic. Not my rules. It's their rules. Now, there are supposedly some very secret books and spells that no one knows about. But, yeah, the secret society, Crowley learned early on. If you have a secret society, it's hard to bang random strangers. So you got to make it publicly known to people you want to bang. And that is the rabbit hole of the OTO and sex magic. I know, not the most appropriate conversation to have, but it is a little more interesting than the NBA right now. Also, I would very much like to share Mr. CCDV. He has a very cool channel. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's pretty much mostly live streams. Now, there is the pain stream, and it very much focuses on veterans and talking about things that are, think of it like group therapy. Public. It's great to get these things out. If you bottle them up, it doesn't make whiskey. And there are some very, very interesting religious conversations, not debates, but conversations, where people of varying religious beliefs just share their experiences with their religion. And it's a very positive environment. I've only watched 2 so far, new to it, but very interesting. I rather like it. And I have a new book that I will be reading. I have a new book that I'll be reading soon. It is The Redemption of J. Lazarus Long. It is written by DJ Christopher, and it is about an inventor who gets sent through a world that he never could have imagined. It is an adventure that will take him around a world filled of wonders and dangers. And it is, there's some time travel involved. It is very, very much science fiction. It looks exciting, and I am very excited to read it. I've just got to do a little more of my Mary Hallberg Penny Dreadful book as well. Not sure if I'll try 2 books at the same time. All right, now let's see here. I'll make time for this. I did ramble on a little more than I thought I would about sex magic. I don't know why I feel the need to say it that way. Probably because it's sex magic. I mean, other than ghost gonorrhea. Probably the goofiest thing I've talked about on a stream. Or on a video. Next up. And this comes from Thomas Dell. Human sacrifice. That's right. What better way to show God your appreciation? What better way to show God you appreciate Him than to squander his most precious gift, life, in an orgy of ruthlessness and gore. Now, justifying the Crusades, witch trials, a shit ton of wars that have been fought, this theological breakthrough is the main justification for the time-honored practice of kill a motherfucker, right? Now, sacrifices are perhaps the most ancient method to honor your deities, going way back. The earliest religions, mostly Egypt and Mesopotamia, are the best documented religions, and those were focused on worshiping your ancestors rather than a deity. So your long dead ancestors, the idea of killing someone to honor them, it's kind of like, hey, got your new roommate, or hey, this girl's cute, you should have her. Don't worry, she's a virgin. Now, the original theory was that everyone's got to eat, everyone needs things, so you leave out some food for your long dead ancestors, because you're not quite sure how this dead concept thing works, right? You know that fucking dude was here, now he's gone, and where'd he go? I mean, he's dead, that's his body, but I mean, I'm more than just a body. Yeah, he went to the place where dead things go. Gotcha. He's probably lonely. Well, here's some food for him. We're going to lay that out. And here's a cute girl. It made sense, right? But eventually, when times are hard and you got all this food laying around, yeah. Plus, it's nasty, it stinks, so you're not seeing the food get eaten. Why? Does that mean are they just gone? No. We've been doing it wrong. We got to burn the food, right? Burn it. See? That way, it's gone and it goes to the place where they are. Yeah. That way they're eating. Got to take care of the ghosts, the spirits. Pretty smart. Logical. Makes sense to me, at least. I can see how they came about. Now, as time went on, the burning food got used less because I'm hungry. So they started focusing more on hey, they need someone to wash their dishes. They need someone to plow their fields. They need someone to plow. Kill this person, kill this person, kill this person. Me being the religious leader, I don't choose who dies. It doesn't matter that I really want his wife. That's not why I did it. I was told that he needs to go help out the ancestors. They like him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The widow, I'll help her out. It makes sense. In the beginning, that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Now, animal sacrifice is... So let's go back to the food thing, right? Burning some plants. Gotcha. That's just not as cool as slaughtering a fucking cow. Because then I'm going to kill the cow, drain the blood. Blood goes, since blood is life, we drain the blood and we just set that out for the ancestors. And then we can eat the meat because they're going to live off the blood. Yeah, ancestors get the blood. We burn the blood. We eat the meat. Pretty cool, right? And while I personally believe since the beginning of humans gathering together, human sacrifice has been a thing. Just as I said, cavemen were doing it. What evidence? There are multiple graves, mass graves throughout Europe that are 10,000 years old of where people were killed. And it does not appear that it was from battle, because you have teeth marks and such. And yeah, and there are some older folks and some children that were clearly not involved in battle. So they were clearly, there's enough evidence that we can say they were ritual killings. Were they human sacrifice or just ritual killings? Is there much of a difference, to be honest? So, yeah, there's arguments on when did human sacrifice begin. Are ritual killings human sacrifice? People were killing people for religious reasons. Whether it was a ritual killing to give them to the deities or to the ancestors, and there's one count as sacrifice and the other semantics, right? But every fucking religion, every society, every group of people has touched upon this or has come from somewhere like this. Agamemnon gave up his favorite daughter, and Abraham the Abrahamic religions, basically you have Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac, and then the Islamic faith believes it was not Isaac but the other brother or the other son. Essentially, it all comes from the same thing. That whole Isaac thing always kind of bugged me, though. Like, God is, I need you to kill your son. All right. Psych. Just messing with you. Just wanted to see if you would. Oh, thanks, God. But hey, he works in mysterious ways. Every culture, every religion comes from this basic practice of some pretty dark shit. Now, different methods. In Northern Europe, victims weren't, wasn't like the cattle guns where you just with the bolt. It was closer to the Wicker Man with I'm going to say the Nicolas Cage one, because it's not nearly as good, but it's so much more entertaining. Where they fucking sting the dude with bees and then burn him alive. Like, Europeans were pretty fucking crazy. And the Russians, they weren't often as bloody, but I would like to ask everyone to watch Count Dankula's video on Rasputin, because the way they killed him was very European. South America, they were usually a lot quicker, a lot better about it, just, stab. Africa, they had muti killings, which were pretty rough, but that wasn't as widespread. Muti killing is when you dismember and decapitate. Then you remove the genitals and the vertebrae. You drain all the blood, and it will bring you good fortune. And the parts that you remove are used in other things. Now, why would you do that for good fortune? Because it's a very harsh environment, and you need things like rain, and farming is difficult. And of course, we touched on the South Americans. North America with the natives, they have various sacrifice techniques, and the Caribbean as well. Voodoo has always been very associated with human sacrifice, right? Not that big a deal. It was put in movies and books because America was created by some pretty boring people, and they needed some excitement. Whereas the Europeans, you've got craziness all around. The American society kind of killed everybody that wasn't exactly like them, so you didn't get that much variety. So they had to lie and spruce up voodoo. Now, Santeria, which I love Santeria. I could make 100 videos on Santeria. It has very similar claims about it. They're untrue, but they're not as untrue as the crazy claims about voodoo. Now, the Hindu. We all generally tend to think of them as peaceful, kind, vegetarians. There's been some, don't want to call them cults, but some very specific groups in the Hindu religion that have killed a fuck ton of people to honor Shakti, the incongruous, the wonderful maternal figure who shows her motherly love by asking you to gut and bleed someone. More like a mother-in-law than a mother, right? The cult of Kali, which, yes, that is where the inspiration for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom came from. They wanted you to sacrifice virgins, boys or girls. Cut off their hands, their feet, and the female parts here, and the male parts down there. Now, probably not something to bring up, but I don't care. And I'm sober, by the way, so there's that. There's a lot of anti-Semitism in the world. There is, there always has been, there always will be. The blood of Gentile children is not used to make matzo bread. It is not. I don't care what you read or who told you. Blood coagulates. You're not going to use it for bread. You can't bake bread with, just saying. Now, in Prague, lovely city. I enjoy Prague. Haven't been in over a decade, I think. They they had a very serious issue with people believing this. There were some people that were seriously hurt because people were trying to save the children. Now, while human sacrifice generally ended in Europe, 500-600 years ago, generally, good estimate. Asia, Middle East, Asia, it ended probably 1500 years ago, mostly. The Middle East, sacrifice? Oh, we're not going to count honor killing. Yeah, probably ended around the time of Europe. The Americas, it should end any day now. Now, it's not common, but yes, it still happens. In Peru, there are some rare instances. There have been some in Mexico. There's been recently some human sacrifices. People incorrectly said it was an Aztec ritual. It wasn't. It was Incan, for the record. So, yeah. People forget about the Incas. I don't know why. But, yeah. It wasn't the Aztecs. Now, the Inca people generally did kill them in a very boring way. This latest batch were beheadings, but which is probably why they blamed it on the Aztec, because the Aztecs they were a lot more brutal than the Incans, but still less brutal than the Irish. Those Druids, man. Whew. Mayans, they did as well. Let's see. Now, human sacrifice is not common in the world. The Shakti and Kali cults in India do still exist, but they generally sacrifice animals, and they make effigies out of pumpkins and fruits. There are rumors that the occasional human still sacrifice, but generally not. General Butt Naked. Yes, that's a person. He did a lot of human sacrifices. Mostly children. And that was before Count Dankula, Mad Lads, General Butt Naked. I'm not going to give you the whole story. Just watch it. You will laugh until you cry. You may feel pretty bad. But he didn't do the Moody killings. Those, surprisingly, only seem to be popping up in London. I don't know. I don't know. Now, in London, there has been people defending some of these rituals. Tommy Robinson will get thrown in jail for complaining about something while people committing, yeah. But yeah, that would take it in a political direction. I don't want to do that. So human sacrifice, sex magic, and sports. Coming up on the 1 hour mark. Pretty good. I hope you enjoyed my rambling. And I hope it was informative, entertaining, and as always, marketable. Yeah. So, Be sure to turn your ad blocker off when you watch this. Unless it's demonetized, I don't care. Alright, I'm going to call this a successful first episode, and I will see you soon on some stream or video.